Hello, everyone. Welcome to a live session on Thursday evening. Um, I am hoping that most of you will join us because we've just had a little change from a Friday to a Thursday. But of course, we are going to be talking about a very important subject and with a very, very special guest who's going to take us through her experiences and tell us of how things can change. So let me just unveil the topic for our life today. The topic for our life today is mental clarity. It begins at home, and it also begins with where and how we actually design our houses. We know it's first, right? So why not have somebody on with us who is an expert, and at the end of the day, she majorly is a health behavioral change specialist and also somebody who promotes health. So I'm sure she knows that what exactly needs to go in your house. Yes, I'm talking of no one else except Dee. So I'm just going to take Dee Katz online with me for the live session, and let's start our conversation.
How are you?
Hi Dee, how are you? I'm good. How are
I'm
you?
good. I'm doing well. How about you?
All good, all good.
Wonderful. I was just listening a little bit to what you were saying. Thank you so much.
All right, welcome, Dee. And we're so happy to have a conversation with you on a very important subject today. So, before I actually go down and start my own questions, I would like you to just introduce yourself to our audience.
Okay, so my name is Dee, and I own a platform and business called Bodyholic, which is really dedicated to making information, cutting edge research as available as possible, including a clothing line, just anything that kind of fits right into my lifestyle, including the workouts and everything. It's I try to make everything accessible and comfortable. So that's me, and I'm a public health promoter, where the key thing that I'm focused on is health behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard you say that a little bit, so I'll stop right there. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So, see, we're going to be, I'm really interested to know when we talk about comfort. I think comfort begins from our home at the end of the day. And, the topic for today is also very relevant when it comes to a, discussion with many that how do we design, the way we design our home is something that actually becomes either an inspiration or a stop to our journey at the end of the day. So you being in this domain, how do you really think that designing or putting in elements in your house can somewhere be connected with your emotional quotient as well?
Yeah. I'm just going to quickly say that I feel like if my husband was listening to this, he'd be like, no, she's not a designer. Yeah. But I definitely, the whole science behind spaces and anything that really connects to the well-being is something that I'm very interested in, but I definitely am not an interior designer. I'm going to leave that for the experts. But um, I think when we're thinking about our homes, um, creating like designated zones for everything. I'm going to specifically say, like, for instance, your bedroom, right? Where we don't want to bring the TV into the bedroom. We don't want to bring the phone into the bedroom. Or I do that. I have to say, I'm like really bad about the phone thing. But I also don't have any lights that bother me. So once the phone is off, it's off for the rest of the night. I don't check it in the middle of the night. The blinds are completely dark. There's no like tiny little green light anywhere. There's always something like, so no, that's really crucial for me. And just like in the kitchen, there's a designated area for eating. And, for me, the healthy eating is super important. So also the way I have the kitchen arranged
Right.
is promotes health. And so there are zones. There's a play place for the kids, and there, everything is zoned out so that it's not a whole big um, mess
Clutter
of
anywhere.
a gazillion things everywhere. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. So, Dee, I mean, I'm sure you're having zillions of people that you're, kind of working out with, telling them different aspects of health. So, how do you really think, when people shift from, their workspace or, the places where they're working out and looking after their health, and then come to their house, how do they really kind of, take that further to their home as well, like a healthy habit outside as well as inside?
The healthy habits also outside and also inside.
Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah.
Um, so this is a really great question because, and I'm really glad you brought it up because one of the elements that's really, really, really important for the home is actually bringing in as much nature as possible, whether it's sunlight. It could
Well,
just be, opening up the windows, making sure that plenty of light gets in, natural light, not, flipping the switch.
well,
Um, Lots of plants, as much as possible, without also weighing the task of watering the plants on you. Like,
right,
it has to be
right,
fun and it has to
right,
be.
right.
And for me, I'm going to be really honest. For me, it's really fun because I don't do the plant watering in the house.
Uh-huh.
So I totally, I'm like, yeah, bring all the plants in. I don't deal with it. So I mean, you have to understand who you are and how you want to
Right,
arrange it.
right.
But and ventilation, open up the windows, get fresh air in. Hopefully you live in a fresh air environment. And if not, which is the case for almost most of the world, I'm pretty sure. Well, in that case, do what you can. Maybe there's aromatherapy. Maybe there's a purification system. There's a lot of things going on right now in the airspace. So because so many people are living in urban environments and breathing recycled air, so that's a whole other story. But even natural materials, like if you have a lot of wood, kind of a rustic feel to the house, that itself in itself can connect you to nature in addition to the colors. And of course, if you have the opportunity to get out and leave the house and go out into nature, that's fantastic. But very often, the best we can do, at least on a daily basis, is bring in as much as possible. And so even like scents, aromatherapy, sounds, you can even play like, gentle sounds. You could have a little one of those like fountains, just to hear the water. It's so soothing. So I think bringing nature in is actually a
Mhm.
really strong place to start.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, Dee, so we have a question which is coming that what are some subtle signs that we notice that our home environment might be mentally cluttering us without us realizing it?
um it's such a great question. you know this is going to be it sounds petty, but it really is the truth. When you just leave, you take off your jacket and you put your jacket somewhere and you move on and you forget. Just the fact that, again, it goes back to this designated areas. The fact that you didn't hang up the jacket where it's supposed to be, that's one of the
Right.
things that you really don't notice. You don't notice it. And of course you did it thoughtlessly. And I'm not saying that with critique. I'm saying like you were thinking about something, you took off your jacket. But those are the kinds of things that creep up on us. And then the next thing you know, there's so much clutter. I want to give you a little tip. And this is something that I practice big time because I really have trouble with too much stuff and clutter. So when I feel like something's just kind of getting worn out, I'm talking about even my closet. Something's getting a little worn out. I give it away. I find someone I care about, ask her if she wants it, and I give it to her. Or I'll put it out for someone to take. And if it's super worn out, I'll get rid of it. And then only then will I purchase something new. Only then. So I really can't buy anything without first making room for it. Otherwise, it's crazy what goes on in the closet.
Right.
I'm just speaking from
Right.
experience. Like it's something
Right.
that I decided to do. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
designated spaces, guys. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. So yeah, I think that is something that most of us really have to learn. That first declutter the space and then kind of take in something. That's true.
I'm also, I really have to say, I'm such a innate editor. Like I just want to get rid of anything that is needless. And so once you have that state of mind of just like what's important, you hold on tight to what's important. What is not the most important thing? And if you think it's a little, time, it's enough. You've had enough.
Right.
You just set it free. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Great. Let me take in another question. Okay. So this question comes in for both of us. That have you had a moment that you can share with us when a change in your physical space has had a profound impact on your mental or emotional state?
You said that's for both of us, right?
Yes. Yes.
So go for it. You first.
Okay. So, have you had a moment that you can share with us that has changed? Okay. For me, I guess it does really make a difference if there is something. I like putting things in order as well. So if there is something that I come back to office and it's kind of shifted, even if it can be something like my notebook, I have my notes in there most of the time. So if that is something which is not there, and probably the person who kind of cleans the office has kept it somewhere else, it just kind of puts me off for probably in half an hour or 1 hour, and then I kind of need to get back.
Wow.
But I think leaving things the way they are kind of just doesn't keep that thing of getting worried at the end of the day that I might lose something. Probably that's the phenomena that most of us carry. But for me, yes, personally, it does make a difference if things go a little haywire. It just switches me off for a while.
Yeah.
What about you?
Um,
I'm sure because knowing you are much more systematic and organized, so things
no,
will
actually,
make a
for
difference.
so I actually this is a topic that's like a really big topic in my life. I have trouble falling asleep when the kitchen is a mess. I
Right.
have 2 nights every week where I am in the office and in the studio and training people. And then I get back and I'm really tired and I'm beat. And when I left, everything was spick and span, like super
Right.
clean. And then when I came back, it's
Right.
rarely the same as when I left. I was gone for 2 hours, rarely. And I can tell you honestly, and I wish it didn't, but that throws me off. That throws me off regularly every single time, even though I'm like trying to mentally prepare for it.
Right.
That's a biggie for me, and I actually find that to be a challenge that I need to work through. Like it's an opportunity for me to grow,
Right.
but it really it makes me a little bit crazy each time. So either I've learned to be so tired that I actually fall asleep and let it go, but it used to be that I would scrub until I'm done and then go to sleep. But then I'm losing out. So it's kind of like I've been prioritizing a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, that really throws me off. That's a great question.
Perfect. All right, let's just pick another one. I think it's very relevant as well. Does clutter really affect? That's the question. I feel it affects me alone mentally and emotionally. Is it person to person that clutter affects, or it generally just affects everybody?
No, clutter, that's kind of like what I was saying before. Clutter affects
Yeah.
you whether you like it or not, whether you don't, whether you're aware of it or not.
Right.
I mean, if you close your eyes for a second and imagine yourself walking into a space that is filled with space and the natural lights and some green, but it's minimalistic. Like there isn't just a ton of stuff. Um,
Right.
the already like just imagining that, doesn't that feel so much better than walking into a storage room, a dark storage room? I mean, it has
Right.
such an impact, and it's not just you. It's totally a
Right.
thing.
Right. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. City, when we're normally busy in our professional and personal lives, I'm sure you get back home, you have kids who can be helping out in terms of decluttering, or can be cluttering, or can be anything. I think kids being kids, they'll clutter in more stuff. So, I mean, does that really have a disconnect with the as an individual? Do people that you meet around also have a disconnect with family because of the clutter that's being created in the house?
Like disconnect, you mean like friction? Like is
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think for me, I'm only going to speak for myself.
Uh-huh.
I don't like, I know that almost every mom I talk to is like, oh
Yeah.
my God, the mess, the house, the mess, the house, the mess. It's like, and I'm never tired of hearing moms say it because I say it all the time also. Like, and so when they say it, when my mom friends say it, I'm just like, oh my God, I know I'm the same. And so we all kind of share in the,
Right.
and we all have a thing, by the way,
Right.
like everybody I know, if someone comes to clean the house, uh, or if like I just clean the house or whatever, then it's like the kids cannot have a friend over. It's like, no, no, you're playing outside. I need
Right.
3 hours where the house is clean. Three.
Right.
That's it. So, yeah, in that sense, that totally happens. That's supernatural. I'm seeing that all the time. I will say that, like I said, it's an opportunity of growth for me personally. I'll speak for myself. That it used to make me absolutely crazy in my marriage. I would say to my husband, like, why do I wake up and why is there, I could go crazy over a teaspoon in the sink. Like, why is there a teaspoon in the sink? Um, and then it took me a minute to realize that some people will leave a teaspoon in the sink and the world didn't explode and it's
Yeah.
all good and it's really okay. And I don't need to, get divorced over it. So
Right.
that really is a point of growth. You want to find balance. Like you don't have to be completely obsessive, compulsive over the zoning and the area, and also allow the people around you to live comfortably because that's part of the energy in your
Yeah.
house.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so there's another question that, okay. I am told that attaching nature based things in my living space would help me declutter. According to you, what role do elements like natural light, color, plants, and minimalistic play in creating a healing? I think they're trying to say a healing effect.
Um, So yes, that's exactly what we talked about. The natural light. I'm just going to repeat what I said because
Right.
that's like spot on. So we were maybe you weren't on before, but what we were
Yeah.
talking about was the natural lights, like opening up the windows, letting the air in so you can ventilate the place. Um, uh, you know, Ashmita has such a beautiful background there with the green, and that's exactly it. So
Right.
you don't see this, but I have a humongous, like, this is all a window in front of me, so I get to really look out. um
Right.
the element of natural light and ventilating is so important, and the feeling of being able to move in your space and not kind of just feel squashed is
Right.
so important.
So they
Yep.
do also lighting play a very important role in the place that we are. I mean, natural light, of course, is the best, but the kind of light also does affect us emotionally and mentally somewhat.
Yeah, I would be careful with, very strong fluorescence. Natural light is the best, but if that's not available, then using a more soft and yellow kind of light would definitely be preferable. Like you don't want to feel like you're in a hospital when you're at home.
Right. Right.
And yeah, and especially when you're preparing for bed,
Right.
a couple of hours before, you just start dimming the area. You don't need all the lights on at 9 p.m. You don't.
Yeah.
And you want to kind of fit the lighting in your house to your circadian rhythm. So
Right.
when you need to start bringing it down, bring the lights down as well. Absolutely. And then, like I said in the beginning of our conversation, you've gone crazy. Okay. Um, so what I was saying that the nighttime, pitch black, pitch black, as much as possible, you should be sleeping really in the darkest environment.
Perfect, perfect. I mean, I personally get very disturbed with the kind of lighting which has different colors and it keeps changing. It doesn't let me focus. So I avoid that personally, and I think softer, natural based lighting is something which is perfect when either in our personal spaces or in the official space as well.
Yes.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, let me pick up another question.
Mhm.
Okay, the question that has come in is for someone feeling overwhelmed right now, what's the first small change they can make at home to start feeling lighter mentally? Would love to have an insight.
First of all, huge hug to you. Huge, huge hug. Um, the first thing is to probably just open up the window, close your eyes, and take a few really deep, mindful breaths. And I would even count. So I would really go like, in your head, not out loud because you're breathing, but it would be like in your mind, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the inhale. And then very slowly let the air out. And I would do that for a cycle of 5, like right there at the window or your balcony. So that's the tiniest little thing that you should be doing right now if you're feeling overwhelmed is walking over to the window or going to your balcony and just taking those 5 deep mindful breaths. It's amazing how that's a game changer. So the tiniest little thing. And then in general, if you're feeling a little bit like you can do more than that, you can step a little bit away from the overwhelm. You could even put, some soothing sounds on. YouTube is filled with, meditation music and like sounds of streams, of winds or whatever. You can put that on and you can start decluttering literally just, if you've got a pile of dishes, I keep using that as an example just because I feel like everybody can have a pile of dishes. So if you have a pile of dishes, you just start with 1 little teaspoon. You don't have to do everything. You can just do that 1 little teaspoon and maybe it'll make you feel a little better. So really it's like anything is just one tiny step first before anything in overwhelm zone. You just have to take 1 little step, but first breathe.
I think we can solve the problems literally mentally at every stage. And you rightly said that deep breathing and having those soothing tunes around you can be like a huge game changer in your mood at the end of the day.
Totally. Ambiance. Totally, totally, totally.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, let me. Okay, so we have someone saying that. Okay, this is for me. So, hi Ashmita, this question is for you. Thank you for the Beyond Lifestyle. I love the application deeply. Thank you so much. I want to ask one thing to take your point of view. The Beyond Lifestyle emphasizes on emotional and mental health. Yes. And how important is the concept of designing mindful spaces within the app's philosophy? Okay, the app was actually initiated for decluttering initially, but now it is catering to a 360-degree lifestyle solution, wellness solution, where we've incorporated mindful living as a core essence, where we're trying to say that we want to be the pocket-sized companion and not an instructor at the end of it, where the entire idea of the app is that you can just come and declutter. As you know, Dee rightly mentioned earlier, we have breathing exercises that we try to incorporate. We have harmonies that we've put in. We have create your own music, because there are a lot of people that I got I actually interacted with, who said that creating their own music and putting that in their space really declutters them. So they kind of can create their own music, and they're very small issues that we really do not Google. So we try to address those in our content, where people can just come and consume whatever age, whether it is somebody who's 16 years old, somebody who's 40 years old, or somebody who's 70 years old. There is something for everybody. And mindful living is what is our priority. So this was actually made with my personal journey, and I wanted that there should be nobody who can actually come up and say that there's no solution that they are getting, and they have to hop onto apps. So that's why we created this space. So thank you so much for asking this, and I hope I have given you the answer that you were looking out for.
I love that that's why you created the page. That's so amazing. Great
Perfect.
question. I
Thank
got
you
to
so much.
discover that.
And obviously, we have a lot of professionals and people that love the applications, like applications just like you, who are there as a support system to actually answer a lot of queries that come across from the users. And it's so great that we're able to help at least a couple of them.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Okay, let me just pick up another question, Judy. So I have a very limited space. That is what somebody says. That it's a studio apartment that the person has. How can I create a healing corner for mental clarity?
Studio spaces, it's becoming more and more prevalent. And actually, that's where zoning really comes into play. So I would say, when you have a big space with lots of bedrooms, then you can really zone each bedroom or each room into its own niche. But when you have a studio, then you do have to actually compartmentalize. So it, if you're looking at it, you can really create a corner that's like a meditation corner. Maybe you choose the more lit area with more natural light. That would be, perfect with, you could have cushions set up there. You can make yourself a little sanctuary. It's a corner. You could do so much with a corner. And then, your eating space, it doesn't have to be a huge dining room table, right? Something small, again, going back to that rustic feel where the light wood look opens up the space, feels like there's more room. This reminds me, I have a friend whose parents have a massive house, and every morning, okay, they have the dining room table, and every morning they both have coffee, okay, next to the dining room table with this little coffee table that you would find in any like European coffee shop. And they have their paper, they have their cups that are so coffee shop-esque. And they love it because they feel like they're in Europe for a minute. So they won't eat in the designated family room table, but they actually have this little spot where it's cozier for them. It feels nicer. They feel out of town, and that's how they start every day. And you could do the same thing. That's exactly the kind of thing you don't need a lot of space for.
Right.
So zoning your four corners, and if it's hard to find darkness for your bedroom, then whatever you can do, I would suggest actually getting really good blinds and investing in good blinds, so that you can open everything up and then shut everything down and have it aligned with your circadian rhythm.
Perfect. Like that unwinding time in your designated area is something which all of us need at the end of the day.
Absolutely. We need it.
Perfect. Okay. So, there's a question. Do we feel sleepy in our own healing corner? I have noticed that I get a good sleep in my yoga studio, that's also my workspace. So, do you feel sleepy in your healing corner?
Wait, so the question is, she sleeps in her yoga studio?
Yes, she can fall asleep in her yoga studio, but that's also her workspace. So she just wants to know that if you also feel sleepy in your healing corner.
Wow. You know what? That's definitely a thing. Because apparently you're so relaxed there that you just let
Right,
yourself go. And I
right,
think that's fantastic.
right, right,
I wouldn't even change a thing. If that's like where you want to take a
right,
nap,
right.
do it.
Do
Absolutely.
it.
That just goes to show how um good your yoga studio feels. That's amazing.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so we do have shortage of time, so let me just pick up the last question to you. 1 minute. Okay. So, this person asks that, Dee, can you help me with some quick fixes that I could do at my house which would help me declutter and heal? Renovations are something which are not possible as I've moved into a new house. But my energy levels are really low in my new house, and I feel I could take some help and therefore asking for some fixes.
Um yeah, first of all, congratulations on your new house and renovations. Yeah, that's a big, you've got to be in a really good mental space for that. Um,
Right.
I really would suggest uh, really getting into a mindset of minimalism. What really makes you feel good?
Hmm.
Really, what makes you feel good? What do
Right.
you need? What is essential?
Hmm.
And just try to get rid of the rest.
Right.
Like I think this is an opportunity. You just moved in, so maybe things are even still in boxes, and maybe there's a box that you just don't feel like you
Need.
want to unpack. Maybe why don't you want to unpack it? Maybe you don't need it. Just get rid of it. You know, other people will be happy to get what is in that box. So things
Right.
like really, I would say you have a fresh start. What a gift. So try to really surround yourself with what
Right.
makes you feel good.
Right. Perfect. Wonderful advice. I think decluttering begins from scratch. And at the end of the day, we start storing things. And I think the best way is something that I come back to the conversation starter. Just do not take anything till the time you throw away what you don't require. So I think that's one thing that I will
Yes.
actually learn across as well myself, because you always keep on just adding on more stuff, but you kind of don't let go of the old one. Perfect.
I was talking to an economist this morning, and it was very interesting because he was talking about how the more money you have,
Mm.
the more stuff you want to
Right.
buy, the more you
Right.
need all of a sudden. And
Right.
I would really urge, that's such a hindrance. Like, the older we get, the more money we make, the more successful, more. But really,
Right.
um, constantly asking, like, what do you actually need in order to uh,
Right.
enhance your well-being,
Right.
which
That's true.
might mean get rid of a lot of things. Yeah.
Right. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much, Dee, for joining us today. And I'm sure there are a lot of questions that I've still not picked up. But please, I mean, we will be happy to have them in the comment section and we can get back to you. Or you could directly message us, we could get back to you as well. Thank you so
Thank
much, Dee.
you.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Ashmita, I
Yes.
don't know if you want to, just so you know, when I
Uh-huh.
was preparing for our talk today,
Uh-huh.
I actually made a little bit of a document. And if you want
Mhm.
me to send that over to you so you could share with,
Yes. It will be perfect. Perfect.
amazing. All right. So
Perfect.
I'll send it over to Ashmita. And
Perfect.
yeah,
Thank you so
thank
much.
you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a great week.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Thank you.